Okay, I'm doing my presentation on BMW. My name is Lathy C. Alright, first with the introduction. BMW is one of the most luxury manufacturers in the car business today. And it was created in Germany in 1913. And the founder was Karl Rapp, who was the director of the company. And he controlled the company when it first started. And they were a successful aircraft engineer company, so they would create aircraft engines. And then in 1925, when the economy became weak and the Germany's inflation was very high, they started to develop low-cost vehicles, and once they became very successful in doing that, they established themselves as a car company and veered off from the aircraft industry. So the video is just basically showing how swiftly and nicely a BMW drives. And in 1969 they created their famous slogan, which is the ultimate driving machine. Next we have the organizational chart. And as you see here at the bottom, it starts with sales support, so that's your basic salesperson at a car dealership. And then you have accountant specialist and outside sales. And then you have your general manager, who's typically your manager at a dealership who controls the dealership. And then this third row you have accountants, district manager, and government sales. Accountants were basically the people who deal with all the finances and all the paperwork that go along at a car dealership. And then you have a district manager. This is basically your manager who controls everything in that district. And then as you move up, you have your regional vice president, and then you have your CFO, and then you have your CEO and president. Next we have the human relation theories, and we're going to start with theory X and Y. Theory X and Y. Theory X is basically the view that workers basically do what they want and will do anything to avoid working. And then how this relates to BMW is how they can motivate people to do so. To do this is by offering them commission checks. So if they offer them commission checks by how many cars they sell, this will motivate them to actually want to work and get these commission checks. Theory Y is basically the view that work just comes naturally. It's human behavior. So this relates to BMW because when employees go to work, they basically are just going to do what they have to do to make a decent, honest living. Next we have Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this is basically the 5 steps of basic survivals, which is security and like safeness, your social needs, your self-esteem needs, and your self-actualization. Your basic security and your safeness needs would be going to work and actually getting the work done so you can have food and a roof over your head. Um, your self-actualization would be to actually sell these cars so you feel accomplished and have all these things done for you. Lastly, we have the Hawthorne effect. And the Hawthorne effect is basically the change in behavior when someone's being examined. So if someone's being examined, they're going to change their behavior, and this relates to BMW because if I start as a salesman in BMW, I'm going to change my behavior and try my best to try to move up that ladder in the BMW world. Next, we have communication issues. We'll start with teamwork. BMW's teamwork starts with the production department, and then moving on from there, you have the manufacturing department, and then you have the promotions department. So in the production department, this is where they design the vehicle, and then it moves on to the manufacturing department where they actually build the vehicle, and then you have the promotion department where they actually promote the vehicle and then finally get it off to sales. They all work as a team because without one part of each department, then a final sale would never be able to happen. Next, we have business etiquette. One way BMW has great business etiquette is I walked into a BMW dealership not too long ago, and they immediately greet you, ask you if you want coffee, water, and they make you feel safe and comfortable. They don't try to pressure you. Lastly, we have crisis management, and this is basically the identification of threats that go on in the organization. And then crisis management basically deals with public relations, and BMW thrives on their image that they have to the public. So when BMW faces major issues, they try to solve these issues very quickly. And then an example of this would be if any one of their vehicles has a recall, they would bring in all these cars and solve all these issues. Next, we have intercultural relationships, and we'll start with international communication. There's three major factors when it comes to international communication. First, we have mobility, then you have long-distance communication, and then your economic and political interdependence. And then with the mobility, this is basically how BMW would work with how they communicate long distance, and with the technology nowadays, it's very easy to make phone calls, send emails. You don't have to deal with how they did it back in the day where they would have to send mail. BMW already has international communication because BMW has 29 sites in 14 different countries and are a part of 4 different continents. How BMW overcomes barriers. The way they do this is, I have a quote from Autotel News, and then they tell us how they avoid high customer barriers is in individual markets with a significant growth potential. BMW builds their cars for a local market and completely knocked down assembled parts, which are imported completely knocked down kits and some supplemented by local components of materials. So their BMW 3 Series, 5 Series, and 7 Series are all assembled by BMW at a knockdown plant. So they'll be assembled in Thailand and then shipped off from there. That's how they overcome the barriers. Next, we have ethical issues, and utilitarianism is basically it determines the ethics by looking at collective happiness. So BMW is the type of company that looks out for their customers, and they try to make sure that the customer is always right, and then they cater to whatever the customer needs are. So they try to make you, when you come into a dealership, they try to fulfill everything that you need. Next, we have strategic ambiguity, and this refers to the message that is purposely vague to increase organizational or individual benefits, to allow the messages to have multiple interpretations. So BMW is very powerful at doing this because when it comes to the BMW business, their customers are what make them BMW so fabulous and luxurious, and they're the type of company who strive off of these customers, and they're very creative because with their famous slogan, as everyone mainly knows, is the ultimate driving machine, and this one catches the customer's attention. Lastly, we have the four rulers, which are categorical imperative, utilitarianism, which I went over, veil of ignorance, and Aristotle's golden mean. So BMW basically has to make sure that they have ethical communications, because that can take them a very long way, and it can help the business out in so many ways. It's very beneficial because having good communications and ethical views will ultimately have customer loyalty.